This week, Quadlock announced their new Handlebar Mount Pro that takes their existing mounting method and just makes it a little more classy and robust. So in this video, we're going to install one as well as a few of their other products, and I'll tell you if they're any good. Now, I've always been a fan of Quadlock's products. They're really well made and I don't expect this to be any different. In fact, it ought to be better. I've used the regular handlebar mount pretty extensively and it's structurally pretty much the same as this. So a little clamp to go around the bars, an arm that sticks out and you can adjust it so that the phone is in good line of sight. And then you've got the actual buckle bit that goes on here so that you can actually clamp your phone to it. This one though, the Pro, it's CNC aluminium, so it certainly does have a bit more of a weighty quality feel to it. And also it's got an anodized finish. If you're the sort of person who doesn't like having plastic stuff on their lovely metal motorcycle, then this one might be for you. It definitely feels a lot more premium. The other advantage is they thought a little bit about cable routing if you want to use the wireless charging head. I've got one of those, so we'll stick that on in a minute and I can show you what I'm talking about. So I'll get started by sticking this on the bars of this Africa Twin, which has quite chunky bars, but fortunately there's like 4 different collars in here to suit different bar sizes. And you also get a little Allen key, so you don't have to go searching for your toolkit. Now it's worth adding you'll need the right Quadlock case for your phone. Obviously they can't supply a case with it because all phones are different sizes, and this one's for the iPhone 11 Pro Max, I think this one is. And yeah, you can see there's the little thing on the back that allows you to mount it in either orientation. So you can have the phone in landscape for sat nav, for example, or you might have it in portrait for... I have no idea why people actually mount their phones in portrait on their motorcycles. I've seen it, but I don't get why people do it. If you're one of those people, leave a comment down below and tell me what that's all about. But clearly Quadlock get it because they're catering for you. I'd also recommend thinking about the rain poncho, because even though this iPhone is waterproof, when you get rain on the screen, it interferes with the touch screen. So it'll start moving your nav around and you have to recenter it and stuff. The rain poncho just fits over the top. And obviously it helps protect phones that aren't waterproof, but for heavy rain and that sort of thing, then you might want one anyway. Now there is another problem with the iPhone, and that's the cameras on the back. They have optical image stabilization to give you nice smooth footage when you're using the camera. The way it does it is suspends the lenses on these tiny thin springs. This is my understanding anyway. And unfortunately, if you mount it on a motorcycle or a mountain bike perhaps, and you've got that constant vibration, it can actually damage the image stabilization, and that'll leave you with like unusable video footage, and it'll be really annoying even when you're just taking photos. Quadlock have thought about this and they've introduced this vibration dampener. So if you've got an iPhone, I'd check their website and see which phones need one of these, but definitely worth fitting because it's really hard to get stuff like that repaired on your phone. This one's pretty easy to fit. It just goes behind the sort of main buckle. It goes between the clamp and arm and the buckle. Now the other product they've sent me today is the weatherproof wireless charger, which is actually a great idea because if you're using your phone to navigate for a few hours, if it's a bright day and you've got the brightness on the screen maxed out, it's going to eat up the battery pretty quickly. Now you could of course run a regular charging cable up to the phone, but this is slightly more convenient. It does add a little bit of bulk and weight to proceedings. We'll talk about that in a bit actually, but the convenience, like I say, is great. Now Quadlock supply a few different cable lengths here, so you might have a USB up by the bars like you do on this Africa Twin, or you might have to run it a little further. Like I say, if you don't have a USB socket, you can get a battery to USB socket from suppliers like Oxford for about 20 quid or so. This is a press bike, but if I was keeping it, I think I might leave that socket there on the bars for other stuff and run a dedicated cable under the tank to make it neater. The other thing is this bike has CarPlay, so probably a lot of the time you want to actually plug in a proper USB lightning cable to get the data transfer to be able to use the screen for CarPlay. It kind of renders the wireless charging redundant because you'd be charging through that USB port anyway, but not many bikes have CarPlay or Android Auto, only a few. This, the Goldwing, a few Harleys, that's about it. So I'll use one of these cables and route it through the clamp. Like I say, it has a little bit more thought to the cable routing, and they've also provided a few zip ties so you can keep it flush with the bars and then along the existing cabling. So look, what do I think of it? Well, like I say, I've used it in the past and it's really reliable. I've never lost my phone, even with the nylon mounts. It's completely solid, well made, lasts for years. The cases last for ages as well. I really don't have a bad word to say about them. I do appreciate the extra quality that this new Pro mount offers. I haven't tried the vibration dampener before because I previously had a different iPhone. I haven't tried the wireless charging head, but both of them seem great, and I've read plenty of good reports about the effectiveness of the vibe dampener. So look, if you're looking for the best of the best phone mounts for your motorcycle, then this is probably one to look at. There are just a couple of caveats. Number one, the price. I mean, if you bundle the wireless charging head, the vibe dampener, and the Pro mount, it's like 140 something pounds. Then if you get a case for the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the Poncho, that's another 40 something. And so you're getting quite close to 200 quid for effectively a phone mount. There's definitely cheaper options out there. It just depends what your budget is and what you're looking for, I guess. The other thing is that the original thing that attracted me to Quadlock was the fact that it looks so clean. If you use the handlebar mount without that little arm, once you've clipped the phone on and it's so nicely integrated on the back of the case there, you can't even really see a phone mount. It looks like the phone is sort of part of the bike, an extra TFT dash almost. Now with the vibe dampener and the charging head, it really is quite a big mount. It doesn't really have that cleanness, and I think it looks pretty decent on a big adventure bike like this where you've got a lot going on in the cockpit. But on a smaller bike, I've got the Herald Brute over here. It probably does look a bit big. So maybe you could just use it with the minimal bar mount, but you would risk damaging your camera without the vibe dampener. And you've got to think about battery life on your phone without the charger. And like I say, it can go down pretty quickly when you're using it to navigate. Now look, I know they're a channel sponsor, but Beeline Moto, for example, that's a different option for something that looks a lot cleaner, a lot more minimal, doesn't munch through battery, and you can still use it to navigate easily. And I think for me, that sort of small device really does suit retros and nakeds and less busy cockpits, let's say. If you want the bike to look clean and sleek, I think I'd still go for that. But like I say, they're a channel sponsor, so don't listen to me, but do listen to me. As always, I'd love to know what you think of it down in the comments below. Leave any questions down there and I'll try and get back to you. And if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you next time.